that done last time with Belle, and I think it would be an extra cute photo shoot with me and Tyler and Belle involved in that whole thing, like make it kind of a family picture type situation. One other side note about this wedding, Tyler, Belle, and myself were all in it, and I had way earlier in the year, before I even knew I was pregnant, I ordered the bridesmaid dress that I was supposed to get. It was like, there were various styles, sorry, there's like a hair floating around in front of my face, but there were different styles, different colors that we could choose from, and so I got one, and by the time that dress actually arrived at my house, I was pregnant enough to where I couldn't zip the back of it. I have no torso, really, and I feel like my bump starts directly under my bra, you know, and so this dress had the cutest little like kind of crisscrossy thing coming around the waistline area, and it was just not gonna zip for me, so I had to rush order a maternity dress, which does cost quite a bit extra. Fortunately, it came in time for me to get it shortened, because being 5 feet tall, everything has to be shortened pretty much in my life. So anyway, I don't know why I'm even telling that story, but yeah, it's always nice when there's a cute maternity option available for the bridesmaid dress that you need to get. You just never know. I have had a few questions, and I'm going to continue to go slightly off topic here, about flying with a toddler or just a little one in general. With this particular flight, this is the first time we had to do this because she turned 2 on the 21st of September. Our flight was just a couple days after that, so we had to buy her a ticket this time. And she didn't really sit in her own seat during the flight. She, you know, sat on me or on Bub, but by law she did need her own ticket this time. But this is not the first time she's flown. She's been on flights on a couple of different occasions. I feel like she's kind of gotten used to flying. She really enjoys being in the airports because there's just tons of people, tons of movement, things to look at. I mean, she just has a ball being in there, really. And some airlines, I know we had some flights with United this past time around, and they will call for people who need extra assistance, and also military members and families are invited to board the plane first, so it gives you a little extra time to get settled. But honestly, you know, we were on some kind of tight planes, and you were gonna feel like you were getting all up in someone's business no matter what, pretty much, trying to squeeze down that little narrow aisle with a big diaper bag on one shoulder and the baby in the other arm. I did choose to take my diaper bag on this flight because, and I hadn't used it for a while, I've been using larger purses and stuff like that, but I knew there might be times throughout the weekend where I would have to go off and do something like makeup wise with the other girls or pictures or whatever, and she might need to be with Bub, and maybe he didn't want to just carry around my purse nonstop. And so I put like a smaller clutch that I could pull out when I needed to into that diaper bag, and then it was tons of space in there to easily hold diapers, change of clothes, wipes, books. Books are a great thing to have with you on the plane. Besides throwing up a banana that she had just eaten before our very first like leg of the journey, which that totally came out of nowhere. She was just having the best time, and then like, honestly, if I hadn't turned my head to look, I might not have even known what was happening there. And Bub, she happened to be sitting on Bub at the time, and we just see, and it keeps coming, and we're like, what do we do? Like, I didn't take a roll of paper towels. I do keep a roll of paper towels in our car for situations such as this, but I mean, it was like the movement, the bumpiness in the air just must have gotten to her, and that probably didn't digest as easily as bread or something else that she could have eaten. But that was fairly early in the flight. We were able to get totally cleaned up. You know, you just ask the flight attendant for some help, and she brought some like wet wipes and sanitizer wipes, a bunch of paper towels and stuff like that. The people around us didn't even know what was going on. Like, they were all asleep. That was probably our only little travel hiccup with, or I probably shouldn't even say hiccup. That was our only travel throw up during this situation. When we would land, she would tell everybody, we made it. She just really treats the plane as her stage. This was probably the first time I've flown with her that I wasn't nursing her anymore, and they talk about that is always something you want to do, and I always did it, you know, during takeoff and landing, as the elevation changes so much, and it can help with their ears popping. So instead of doing that, you know, we had water there for her to drink, and I thought, you know, that could spur on, you know, the ear situation. There was one time where she was kind of touching it, like I could tell something was bothering her. It was bothering my ears as well. I've had this kind of sinusy thing going on too. But having something that they can either just chew on periodically, sip on. I had these great little pouches. I found them at Walmart of individually packaged freeze-dried fruit. and I will order freeze-dried fruit from this awesome website. It's like out of Wisconsin somewhere, and they'll send you these great bags of freeze-dried fruit, and they make a really good snack. You know, there's nothing added to it. It's fruits and veggies, crunchy, just really yummy stuff. But I love these little individually packed ones. They had Mickey Mouse and the Disney characters on them, which does matter. I'm sorry, sometimes that does matter when you're trying to go for distraction and persuading a kid to eat something. And it was something where I felt like even if she wasn't really hungry, she would still munch on them, and it would kind of get the jaw working and get that ear popping happening. But on the whole, that went fine for her, and for me being a pregnant lady who should not get, you know, too empty as far as your stomach goes. Keep snacks on hand, anything that she or I could eat. It was very important. Also, I think it's really easy to get dehydrated when you're traveling. You're just moving around so much, and you can forget to eat, you can forget to take drinks of stuff, so try to keep a water bottle tucked somewhere in your stuff. Oh, you know another thing Belle did while we were on our trip? You know this if you watch my Snapchat. She dialed 911 on the hotel phone. Now, there is a convenience button for dialing 911, and it's the red one. So what happened from that was we get a call from the hotel front desk saying 911 has been dispatched, and if this is a false alarm or we need to cancel it, to tell them. And I'm like, oh yes, total false alarm. I am so sorry. Like, I turned my back for 30 seconds to go to the bathroom and kids dialed 911. But pregnancy wise, outside of the obviously growing bump, the thing I've noticed the most has been all the movement. And there's been movement that I've noticed back to the 16 week mark, but it's just been so frequent now. I feel so many kicks. I can see them just by looking a lot of times. In fact, I was at the dentist, a couple days ago. As soon as I laid back, it was like the baby was starting to get resituated in there, and the hygienist is like, did something just move in there? Like, she could see it out of the corner of her eye. And it's great. I love feeling movement. I love knowing that there is activity going on in there. It doesn't always come at the most opportune times. Sometimes I'll feel like I notice tons of movement when I first lay down to go to sleep, and it kind of keeps me up a little bit. The comfort level with just trying to get to sleep, by the way, that has been something I've noticed more. It takes me a little longer to get into a sleeping position that I really enjoy. But the funny thing about movement is, you could be having a really busy day. Like the day of the wedding, we started at 10 a.m. doing makeup, and I had done several full faces of makeup, and then I felt like I was putting false lashes on everything that breathed. And when I finally had a chance to sit down, I thought, I haven't felt the baby move today. Oh my gosh. And then I just reminded myself, you were probably so preoccupied and so into what you were thinking about at the moment and so busy that you just didn't notice it. And when you finally take time to sit still, you will. But very grateful to be feeling good. No weird pains, no weird sicknesses, except that one day late in the evening where I didn't eat enough, and literally the only thing that sounded good to me, the only thing I could even fathom eating, was a McDonald's McChicken sandwich. And it's weird because that hasn't been something that all along, oh, I need to have a McChicken sandwich. It's not even my top menu pick item from McDonald's, but for whatever reason, that was the only kind of thing I could think about eating. And Bub went out and got it for me. Fortunately, there's a McDonald's in town. But keep some food in your stomach. That's the best tip. Then you won't get in a bind and feel like you have to have a McChicken. Much like the last pregnancy, I also feel like I'm starting to crave cold stuff that's not necessarily ice cream, but cold fruit, really good snappy green grapes and berries, and the kinds of stuff that I'm feeding for Belle. I'm chopping it up and I'm thinking, some for me too. It really seems good. I have also been known to concoct some Diet Shirley Temples with a little grenadine, a little Sprite Zero. Very yummy. Doctor's appointment was very quick and routine this time around for the 24-week appointment. Got in there and had the normal, pee in the cup, take your blood pressure, talk to the doctor about any changes you've been noticing. He listened for the heartbeat, which was there and present and strong. And also, this was the first time during the pregnancy where he measured the fundal height, I believe it's called, which goes from the pelvic bone to the top of the uterus, and that seemed to be on track with where it should be. My next appointment is going to be the glucose test, so that will come in another 4 weeks, and yeah, I don't really dread that maybe as much as some people. I actually think it kind of tastes good. Oh wait, I did have something of value to share regarding pregnancy and going to the dentist. Something that your dentist slash hygienist will probably know about and pick up on during your pregnancy, like for the routine 6-month checkup, is your gums. And I guess pregnant women can be prone to their gums being a bit more inflamed or more sensitive during this time. So that was something that they were kind of looking for when I was there for my checkup. That was just last week that I was in there, and they noticed, a couple of areas in my mouth that looked a little sensitive around the gum line. But overall, things were pretty good there. And as far as dental work being done, I was going to get a couple of fillings, and they said to make sure and double check with your OB about the whole anesthesia procedure, for getting the shot of the numbing stuff. And sure enough, I go home and I check my little binder. I don't know if you guys get like big information packets from your OB when you start going for a new pregnancy, but there was a dental protocol sheet there, and it said no anesthesia that contains epinephrine. And when I brought that sheet to the dentist, nobody raised an eyebrow at it. I guess that was kind of to be expected. But from my doctor, there were other things put down there, like if you were being given a medication after a procedure or something like that. There were just a bunch of different little restrictions there about things that you could take and things that you shouldn't take. So depending on what's being done with you, I think any dentist would probably prompt you to check with your doctor, but just make sure of what you're supposed to have and what you're not supposed to have. And I've also just personally read in info that the second trimester